Well, it indeed is another beautiful day in the neighborhood. Welcome, everyone. I am Tyrone Roderick Williams, CEO of Fresno Housing, and on behalf of our agency, I'd like to welcome everyone to Alegre Commons. Together with the Fresno County Department of Behavioral Health and many, many other partners, some of who are joining us today, we would like to celebrate this beautiful development. This development provides not only quality, affordable housing, but supportive services in a community of high-quality housing in North Fresno. We've got a number of guests who join us today, and we'll hear from them in just a few minutes, but I'd like to just take a moment to talk about all of the partners that it takes to create this kind of development. Affordable housing, particularly affordable housing finance, is one of the most difficult types of real estate financing ever created in the United States. It is not uncommon to have 5 to 10 different funding agencies all collaborating together to make developments like this a reality. So first, I'd like to thank Wells Fargo, R.L. Davidson, Inc., the California Department of Housing and Community Development, the California Tax Allocation Committee, the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, J.C. Johnson Contracting, the California Housing Finance Agency. I have to pause there because I am the newest appointment by Governor Gavin Newsom to that board representing the San Joaquin County and Fresno's residents. So I appreciate the opportunity to serve you. Yes, it was a shameless plug. And of course, our friends over at Fresno County Department of Behavioral Health. Before I turn it over to our speakers, let me just talk a little bit about this development. First of all, it's 42 units that consist of 1, 2, 3, and townhome units. Funding for this new community represents a combination of funds from state agencies and local funding agencies, from No Place Like Home, which supports counties with 5% or more of the state's unhoused population. This development also has taken into great consideration opportunities for our existing residents. We have 17 residents who have moved from our development at Monte Vista, who now call Alegre Commons homes, and we also have formerly unhoused individuals and families calling Alegre Commons home. When we build new communities, we know that design matters. And we also know that neighborhood engagement is an important element to creating vibrant communities. So, at the conclusion of our ribbon cutting, we're going to take a tour. And along that tour, you will see a community room where individuals and families can gather for events and activities, as well as it serves as the hub for these supportive services. Also, you will see a tot lot, ping pong table, exercise room, and space for pets, all within the development. And the good news is it's close to public transportation, so our residents can get to and from many of the places that they'd want to go just right down the corner here. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge our incredible Fresno housing team. Without our team, none of the development that we would be doing would be possible. And so I'd like to acknowledge our Chief of Real Estate Development and Property Management, Mr. Michael Duarte. Mike has the unique opportunity to watch every single one of our developments become reality. So I think we're now at, Mike, was this 41, 42? 41, all 41. And Christine Husbands, our Director of Real Estate. Where are you, Christine? Over here, right here. But not only do we have an incredible real estate development team, we have an incredible team of committed team members at Fresno Housing. And so regardless of what your title, your position is, if you are a member of the Fresno Housing team, I want you to raise your hand. You can raise 2 hands because you deserve it. You are an incredible team, and I am so proud to serve with you. So we have a number of elected officials who have joined us, and I want to take the time to acknowledge Mayor Dyer from the city of Fresno, City Council member Miguel Arias, from our County Board of Supervisors, Mr. Nathan Madzik. We have both of our chairs for the Housing Commission, representing the county, Commissioner Terry Catalano, representing the city, Ms. Adrienne Jones. So at this time, I would like Mayor Dwyer to come forward, please.
Thank you, Tyrone. I will not have your level of enthusiasm this morning, but it is a beautiful day in Fresno. I just had the opportunity to do a grand opening ribbon cutting of Fire Station 18 in Northwest Fresno, which is much needed in that growing area, and then to be able to come over here to Alegre Commons and to be able to cut a ribbon on a supportive housing unit. And anytime we are opening up housing units in Fresno, especially affordable housing units, it is a good day. When you look at the need that we have today in our community, and we're not alone, it's throughout the state of California and the United States, we are in a housing crisis. We have people that cannot afford to pay their rent, people who can't afford to pay their utilities, and unfortunately, oftentimes can't afford to put food on their own table. So anytime that we can provide affordable housing, it is a bonus for our communities. The One Fresno Housing Strategy study that we did demonstrated that we needed over the next 3 years 6,900 affordable housing units in our city and 4,100 market rate units. And if we can accomplish that in 3 years, we will still only be at 26% of what the demand is. So we need to continue to build these. We have a number of other projects coming online. But I will say this, we have an incredible partnership with Fresno Housing. Tyrone, thank you for that partnership. Michael, thank you for your leadership over there. We know we're getting ready to do a groundbreaking on Monarch in Chinatown, which is going to be beautiful in Councilmember Arias' district. And we look forward to that as well. So it's my honor to be here today to be able to represent the city of Fresno. And we look forward to many more of these in the near future. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, housing is the foundation, but everything that we do at Fresno Housing is about our residents. It's about empowering our residents and creating and opening doors of opportunity. One of the shining stars in all of the work that we do is our city chair, Adrienne Jones. She has an incredible story about taking advantage of ladders of opportunity that were offered by Fresno Housing. I'd like to invite her to the podium, our city board chair and former resident, now active on the national stage representing Fresno Housing, Adrienne Jones.
Well, thank you, Tyrone. And thank you, everyone, for being here so very much. On behalf of myself, as well as my partner in governance over here, Chair Catalano from our county board, we do thank you all for being here. And in fact, on behalf of the entire board, because this property, a lot of the construction happened during the pandemic, so we definitely would like to honor that and thank you, Mike and team, and the rest of the Fresno Housing Authority family for your hard work during that very trying time in our city and, of course, in our country. We're really, really excited about our growing partnership with the Department of Behavioral Health. I am a budding therapist myself, so I'm always honored to work with the Department of Behavioral Health because we know that our mental health is also in crisis in Fresno. But right now we are definitely working to help house some of our most vulnerable populations, and that definitely includes some of our families that are working with the Department of Behavioral Health. Tyrone talked about our area, or our moving over here to areas of opportunity, and that is what is really important to us right now, providing our families with access to things like fresh food, which is around the corner, transportation. I remember, I'm old enough to remember when there was a movie theater on this corner, and this was probably as far as the bus came. So to have the transportation in this area is also a wonderful thing. And anyone who has heard me speak more than 1 minute knows that access to education is the primary top of my list. So knowing that education is a pathway out of poverty, is a pathway out of abuse, is a pathway out of addiction, is a pathway out of so many things, your continued support on these particular developments is very important, because it not only supports the actual development itself, but the families that live in our developments. Speaking of education, did you know that 45% of adults 25 and older in the county of Fresno only have a high school diploma? That is almost half of our population. 27% of the population in Fresno, California, or the county of Fresno, actually has better than a high school diploma. So that is a quarter of the population. The other quarter has less than a high school diploma. Out of that 26%, 11% has some high school, which is 9 through 12 grades. 10% of those have 8th grade or less, and 4% there's actually no record of school at all. Education, of course, again, being the pathway out of so many things, is very important. But at the end of the day, it all begins with stable housing. I was able to take advantage, as Tyrone said, we have a program, the Family Self-Sufficiency Program. That program was actually implemented in 1990. A group of folks sat around and okayed this program. I did not get in this program until 2005. You never know what you're supporting and who it is going to support years down the road. So please continue to support us, continue to support the programs that sometimes we don't get funding for, because those are the ones that actually make the difference. I thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Commissioner Jones mentioned our partnership with the county Department of Behavioral Health, and we have a great partnership. But that partnership has great leadership. And it is a pleasure to invite Susan Holt to come up to the podium.
Good crowd. Let's do that again. A little bit of applause, not for me, but for this apartment complex serving so many people here in Fresno County. Let's do it. Did I hear someone say whoop, whoop? I think I did. So those of you who've not met me before, when I speak, I'm known a little bit for audience participation, including a little whoop whoop celebration. As a matter of fact, Carrie said, "Susan, are you speaking today?" And I said, "I sure am." And he kind of smiled, and I said, "You never know what's going to come out of my mouth." And I know our CAO gets a little nervous when I'm at the mic. I would love to introduce our County Administrative Officer, Paul Nerlin, if you don't mind standing, Paul. I'm going to call Paul out a little bit more intentionally here. It is only through the support of our Board of Supervisors and our CAO that we are able to do really critically important work like this. To have the trust and support of such esteemed leaders in our community makes all the difference, not just to our department, to the people we serve, and that's what it's all about. So really appreciate that leadership. I would also like to recognize all of the Department of Employees, that's a different department, sorry. Department of Behavioral Health employees. If you all could stand to be recognized. It is truly the team members who carry out the work day in and day out that That is the privilege I have to stand before you is really appreciating them. And then our partners, Exodus Recovery, if we could have you stand to be acknowledged. I see Anna hesitantly not wanting to stand. So thank you all. So what's really cool about apartments like this is that it's what's called service enriched. And that means that folks hold a lease in their name and they have the real advantage of services for their health and well-being that are here on site, integrated in the community. And so Exodus Recovery is our contracted partner delivering those services here in this community, in this neighborhood. So the thing I want to emphasize about service-enriched housing is that this is what we call supportive housing as well, because without supports, any one of us here, without supports in our life is at risk to be unhoused. I worked at that grocery store walking distance from this apartment complex. I was a grocery checker. I was really good at it. I wasn't particularly fast, but I was friendly. And I had a lot of folks come through my check stand line who were unhoused. And this was 30 years ago. 30 years ago. And that population of persons unhoused has only grown. Together, through partnerships like this, expanding the inventory of affordable housing and increasing how many properties like this have service-enriched settings where folks can get their healthcare needs met, their treatment needs met, recreational needs met, and develop tenancy skills. This is how we address the needs of our community together in partnership. So last thing I'll say about that is I said any one of us, and I absolutely mean that. I don't often talk about my why. Why do I stand here before you? It's a super big privilege. I'm happy to have it. But I stand before you as a family member of someone with serious mental illness. I stand before you as a family member of someone with a serious addiction. I stand before you as someone who has been a visitor in our very own crisis facilities when someone I've loved my entire life, who's a family member by choice, not by blood, was in a suicidal phase and almost died. That's my why. So I joke around a lot, I play around a lot, but I'm guessing each of you's got a why too. If you know someone in your life who's fell on hard times, if you know someone in your life who has had some challenges with their mental health, if you know someone in your life who has had addiction, can I, for them and for this community, get a big whoop whoop? 1, 2, 3. Whoop, whoop. Thank you all.
Well, we've shared that Fresno Housing is one of the few organizations in the country where the Housing Authority serves both the city and the county. And so we are partnering with both, and that's why you constantly hear us talk about not only what's happening here in Fresno, but we're very active across this county. And without the support of our County Board of Supervisors, this kind of work could not be possible. And so I'd like to invite Supervisor Nathan Madzik to the mic, please.
Thank you, Tyrone. And this morning I was reading out of a book. It's called The 12 Rules for Life, written by Jordan Peterson. And the particular chapter that I'm on right now talks about how in life we need to focus on being the best versions of ourselves, because many times we compare ourselves to others and we try to set goals for ourselves which is unachievable. And I'm mindful of the fact today as we stand here and these housing units have been created that housing allows for people to become the best versions of themselves. It allows them to dream big and go out and do other things. And I also recognize too that over the course really of the last 5 or 6 years, our Department of Behavioral Health has really stepped it up. And what I mean by that is this represents the 9th housing project across Fresno County that they've been a part of. And really in the last 5 years, 6 of those 9 units have been developed. And roughly those 9 different projects represent about 652 total units across Fresno County. But beyond that, the county's been involved in other projects in other cities, like in Kingsburg, recognizing that we need to have more units like this that are affordable. And we need units that supply that wraparound services to people who may have other challenges in their life as well. And so the county is absolutely committed. And as we stand here today, ready to cut this ribbon, I want to remind all of you that today will pass, but the commitment that our Department of Behavioral Health has here is a 20-year commitment. Susan Holt leaned over to me before the event started today, and she goes, "Did you know that every No Place Like Home application we've submitted, we've been able to get funding for?" And so I want to share with all of you that we are committed to continuing to partner with the Housing Authority, and we will continue to go after funding sources because we do need more affordable housing units here in Fresno County. And so someone who's a general contractor, someone who spent 15 years building affordable housing units, I can share with you that my passion is in providing roofs over individuals' heads, and the Housing Authority and our Department of Behavioral Health are doing a fantastic job. So I'm here to say congratulations. The county is going to continue to be committed to all of you, and I can't wait to cut this ribbon. Thank you.
I shared about all of the different funding sources that are required in projects like this. And the TCAC, the California Tax Allocation Committee, is very integral in providing affordable housing across this state and really across the nation. It's low-income housing tax credits that really provide a huge portion of the support that makes projects like this possible. But they are competitive. We have to compete. They don't just hand them out because of the need. And so for every project, there is a huge application that has to be put together, and then we step back and hold our breath to see how we are doing. Well, we have a phenomenal track record. And today we have a special guest that I'd like to invite to the mic. Nancy Robles from the Tax Allocation Committee is here, and I'd just like to, first of all, I appreciate you and the whole team who scored our project high enough so that we could get the financing, not only here, but across Fresno County. So thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. And welcome to Alegre Commons.
So good morning. My name is Nancy Robles, and I'm the Executive Director of the California Tax Credit Allocation Committee. This agency gives tax credits to affordable housing developers. And what that means, if you don't know, is a tax credit is sold to an investor, and that is to raise the funds that it costs to construct a building such as this. And like Tyrone said, it's a competitive process. So we receive hundreds of applications for affordable housing throughout California. And unfortunately, with the limited resources that we have, we can only grant those allocations to a certain number. And we're so grateful that this project received those tax credits. This particular project received $1.9 million each year for 10 years, and it raised about $16 million in equity. So that's, a substantial part of this equity for this project. This project is also very near and dear to my heart. I'm from Sacramento, but I call Fresno my hometown. So I lived in Fresno on and off for a number of years. I went to elementary school, I went to high school here. But I remember Fresno being hot. I can't remember how many times I've ever had to wear a jacket, but I really wish I had one today. So I've lived here, I've moved back and forth. I actually started my banking career here at Guarantee Savings. And my parents met at Fresno State, and yes, it was called Fresno State back then. And most importantly, my first child was born here in Fresno, and I lived in this very neighborhood. So what I'm really hoping right now is that nobody uses that information to hack my passwords. So I'm really proud to be a part of the enormous number of people that it takes to finance a development like this. There are two other state agencies that I haven't seen their representation today, but I'd like to mention them, and that is the California Housing and Community Development, and also the California Housing Finance Agency. And we work very closely with those other state agencies to make sure that the financing comes through for these types of projects. So I do have a certificate that I would like to present on behalf of the State Treasurer, Fiona Ma. The Treasurer recognizes that housing insecurity is prevalent within the state. And she also understands the need for safe, stable, and affordable housing. And she's dedicated to continuing to support affordable housing communities such as this one and those who provide it. So I'd like to thank Silvercrest Inc. and the Housing Authority of the City of Fresno for addressing California's housing crisis. And I have a certificate here. Tyrone, if you would like to accept this from Treasurer Fiona Ma.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, well, we've come down to that moment where we get to do the ribbon cutting. I'd like to invite Mike Duarte. You would come. And what we'll do is we're going to take a number of photos. So don't feel like if you're not in the first group that you're left out. We'd like anyone and everyone, particularly those of us who are from Fresno Housing, don't dare leave before you get a chance to participate in a photo as well. So we could have our two commissioners. Please join Mike. The mayor, Susan, Supervisor Madzik, Nancy, so this will be in waves. So this is the first wave. So do we have a, okay, so this is just the photo. Oh, I was gonna say, do we have the sword? Oh my gosh, here, hold on a second here. Coming in for, I want to stand in front of you, Commissioner.
I can find mine.
Okay, thank you. All right. So photographers and everyone with a camera, give us some directions.
Kendall, raise your hand so people know.
Okay. All right, here we go.
Hey.
Right.
All right, thank you. You got a little practice.
Okay.
All right. Those of you who would like to remain at the podium, I will invite our next round. Okay. If you would like to guide it.
Sure. How about if we have the team from the Department of Behavioral Health and the supporting agencies? Come on up. Susan, grab your team. I promise there are snacks coming soon.
Oh, I'm not a part of that.
Yeah, let's get Exodus. Sure.
You wanna
The team.
do the honors?
You want me to hold a weapon?
Yes. We trust you and your team.
Anybody need a haircut?
Okay, they need you to scooch in a little bit there.
All right.
everybody in.
Can I have you two at the end come on this side, please? All right. I need everybody to look at me directly, and then everybody. Thanks, Maya. Okay. All right. Whenever you're ready.
You want me to actually cut it again?
Yeah.
She's supposed to shoot you.
Yay! Okay, let's have the Housing Authority team. And if we have any residents that would like to join us today.
There we go. If you guys can't see me, that means I can't.
You're in the center. I'm over to the center. I have no say.
Okay, look up the phone. 1, 2, 3. Okay, don't do anything yet. Hold on. 1, 2, 3.
Never been. Never been.
Okay.
Okay, Christina?
What do I do?
Just cut it. Close, close it.
You lost everybody.
Yeah, close. There we go. Okay.
All right, everyone.